really has to start when I was a child. My earliest memories were of my father, who was arguing and fighting with my mother and couldn't come to the house on Christmas. I was about 5 years old. And they separated several times and finally divorced when I was 11. Then my uncle moved in with us, and he was not just an ordinary uncle. He just came back from the military, robust, young, unmarried, and he sadly turned out to be my role model, which was running the roads. He chased women, and he drank a lot, but he did have rules, and here was his rule. He was determined to make me a tough guy, and he said, "You don't ever start a fight. If you start a fight and I hear about it, you're gonna get a whipping when you get home. But you don't ever run from a fight. And if I hear if you're running from a fight, you're gonna get a whipping when you get home. I think you got it?" And I said, "Oh, I got it." And really that credo carried me. I mean, that's all I knew to do. And so I came down to the university, went to law school, was lucky enough to get out and started practicing law, and you can imagine. I didn't start in fights, but whenever a lawyer tried to rough me up, well, he got it back double. And it also sometimes, unfortunately, applied to judges. You know, I would stand my ground for my clients. Now, my clients loved me, but the other lawyers didn't like me very much. And also, it spilled over into my personal life. You know, if I had a disagreement with somebody that I was having a relationship with, then the fight always escalated because almost subliminally I was determined to win it. And that made me successful as a lawyer. By human standards, I was a success. Lots of clients, had a new house, had, you know, nice car, but I had a hole in my heart and I didn't realize it. I kept trying to fill it. I knew there was a void. Kept trying to fill it with things. And then I met my wonderful wife, who was a good role model for me, but unfortunately she was not enough to change my ways. And to let you know kind of where I was after we got married, if somebody had asked me, "Do you believe in God?" I would have said yes. "Well, what about Jesus?" I would have said, "No doubt he was here." I could not with a straight face say I was a Christian, but I was quick to point to other people I knew that were deacons in the church, that were my age, that I would see on golf trips go out on their wives, and I would say, if he's going to make it, I know I am. And that's sort of where I was in 2001 when my stepdaughter, who was now about 19 or 20, she went off to a religious camp one summer and worked there for free, which I didn't really understand. But she called me up and she said, "I want you to come out and go with me to a father-daughter retreat." Well, you can imagine I had every excuse in the world, and I had a heavy schedule. And I said, "Well, I'll pencil it in, but you know, don't count me for sure." As time got closer, her pressure on me increased, and so finally I capitulated and said, "Okay, I'll go, but Mary Elizabeth, you know, don't expect anything from me," because I knew it was a religious camp. I said, "I'll go, I'm going for you." And so I went out to J.H. Ranch in California. And when I got there, it was not the talks that really attracted me to in any particular way. It was the young people. It was the college students who I knew were out there working, volunteering their time, free. And they had something that I'd never seen. They were happy, they were contented, they were excited about the Lord, and it was very attractive, and I knew immediately I did not have that. Well, as the week progressed, you know, God was working on me pretty good. But towards the end of the week, I went into this talk that was called a parent talk. And I thought, you know, this would be good. I'll learn how to be a parent. Everybody likes to improve their parenting skills. Well, that's not what it was about. It was about forgiving your parents. Well, I had to forgive my father, who moved to Texas when I was 11, and who, unfortunately, I'd seen drunk lots of times and unhappy arguments with my wife, with his wife, my mom. And I wrote him a letter, which they encouraged us to do. And I got real emotional writing the letter. Apparently, I had some scars I didn't even know I was carrying. And I started to go back in the tent. It was a big top tent. And then I remember the speaker said, no, you need to write both parents and write them a letter of appreciation. If there's anything they need forgiveness for, go ahead and do that. I mean, we all, as parents, make mistakes, and go ahead and forgive them. And I thought, well, I don't know how to write a letter to my mother, because I've seen her work 2 jobs and come home at 7 o'clock at night and sacrifice for her 2 children, and, you know, what'd she do wrong? And then I remembered how hurt she was when my father left, and what a thick shield she put up so she wouldn't get hurt again, and how she gave my sister and I that shield by saying things like, don't trust him, he'll let you down, he won't tell the truth. And so all those years I'd grown up like that, and I realized that was wrong. She was just wrong. I knew why she did it, and she had good motives. So I wrote her a letter of forgiveness, and I still remember the moment standing out there outside, when I was able to forgive my parents, which is something that Jesus tells us over and over and over to do. And as corny as it sounds, I felt something warm come over me. And I remember saying, Lord, if you can make me feel this good, write a letter. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you captain the boat. Because as I look back when I was captain, just as the speaker said, you know, ask yourself, how's that been working out? And it hadn't been working out good. I had broken relationships everywhere. So on August 3rd, 2001, I accepted Jesus as my Savior. And am I perfect now? I'm not perfect now. But I can tell you that there's a peace about me now that I've never had. I'm able to forgive people, whether it's something as insignificant as cutting me off in traffic or as major as suing me. I just don't carry resentment. And I know that can only be done supernaturally by Jesus Christ. And so if anybody wants to hear my testimony, I'll be glad to tell them that before I had things that I thought were good, worldly things, I was totally unsatisfied. And now, as a friend of mine said, if somebody took away every single thing that you have today, but gave it back to you tomorrow would be the greatest day of your life. But as a Christian, I know, in other words, be happy and contented with what you have, but as a Christian, I know that it doesn't matter whether I have things or don't have things. I have Jesus as my Savior, as my comforter, as my counselor, and it carries me.